Do you get recognized on the street a lot when you're walking around?
Definitely not.
What about back then when you were on TV a lot more?
Not really, actually. I mean, if I was with Hunter, they would, but honestly, most of the time, all the attention goes to him anyway, so that I wouldn't really get noticed. And I look different than I do on TV.
That's true.
Especially at that time, my hair was really curly on TV, and I wore a lot of really heavy makeup, and I don't really do that in real life, so most of the time, people look at me kind of like, I think I know you from somewhere, but they can't place it.
So you really didn't know Triple H back then. You just kind of got forced into the skit that was written up by the writers?
Oh, yeah, I hardly knew him.
And so how did you...
I knew him enough to say hi and whatever backstage, but I didn't know him at all.
How hard is that how did you guys actually start dating then after that?
Well, it was actually a long ways into the whole shebang but the thing is, we just had this incredible chemistry even from the get-go. And, I would see, he did used to come to the production meetings, which is the big meeting that we have, and he and I don't know, I could never stop looking at him. And, I said this in the interview and every time he looked at me, I would just blush. I'd just go beet red, even just by him looking at me. That still happens to this day. I just had this incredible chemistry with him, and we started doing the storyline, and it was really unexplainable. It's just an unbelievable chemistry. I just wanted to be with him all the time.
And how did your dad feel about the fact that you were dating a wrestler in his organization? Did he have a problem?
It was forbidden.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely forbidden for me to date a wrestler. Holy cow.
So how did he get over that whole thing?
Well, I think my dad really tried to set us up.
Oh, you think he pulled that off on his own?
I think he did. I mean, I don't think he did the storyline to set us up, but I think he knew Paul, as, we call him around here.
Yeah.
And he knew what kind of person he was. And, he always kind of pushed me towards him. Like, I was dating a guy at the time during the storyline, and I would always, talk to my dad about advice or whatever. My dad and my brother would always be chatting after the show, and, after we watched reruns of Nitro, and we were laughing about a lot of stuff, and then we would just talk, and I'd say, is this normal? Is this whatever? And my dad would always say, well, you need to be with a guy who's more like Triple H.
Oh, really? So
I was like,
you didn't
really?
have a
And my brother would immediately jump in. Well, a guy like Triple H, not actually Triple H. My brother's very overprotective, as is my father. So then my dad actually gave us his blessing to date.
Right.
And then took it away.
He did?
Yep.
Now, why was that?
Because he got so much heat from so many people, and it was a really precarious situation. I mean, here's, Triple H is one of our biggest stars, and, he's going to be champion now because he's married to the boss's daughter and whatever, and, he's getting all of these,
perks
and whatever, when really that wasn't the case. I mean, God, nobody works harder than my husband ever. God, but that's what people were saying, and I think, my dad realized it was going so fast that maybe it was time to hold it up, and I think my mom was a big influence in holding it up.
Really?
My mom thought it was not, she didn't know my husband, and she thought that the whole situation was bad. So he took away his blessing. And
that made you want him even more, probably.
Actually, no, because there was other stuff going on at the same time, and, we decided that we were going to, okay, that's it, call it quits, and, we still talked every day,
right? But
we would just talk business. And, but we couldn't not talk to each other. So, I mean, and I tried to date other people, and he tried to date other people, and, just as I know with me, anytime I was ever with anybody else, all I could do was think about him.
Wow.
And
couldn't get away
so
from each
anyway,
other.
so then we got the blessing again, and it still didn't happen right away. And then when it finally did, I knew it was right, and we were going to give it a shot. Because, it's a trite old expression, but it's true. If you really love something and you set it free and it comes back, maybe it's meant to be.
Yeah, and that must have been tough, especially in your industry, because I'm sure you're seeing him, you're dating people.
I was married to him in the show.
I know.
So my heart would break every time. I mean, there's a lot of times in the show where I'm telling him I loved him,
right,
and I meant it, but I couldn't really mean it.
Exactly.
There was a lot of very interesting backstory behind every one of those scenes.
Wow, that must have been incredible. It really, that's like a fairy tale almost when you think about it, how it happened.
It was, but there was a lot of heartbreak in the middle.
When you
on a lot of sides.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe you on that 100%. When you actually guys finally did decide to get married and got the blessing, and how long did you wait before you said, we want to have kids? Was it pretty quick, or did you have a discussion?
I wanted to be a mom my entire life. That's what I wanted to be more than anything else. I loved our business, and I wanted to be a mom. And so to me, I couldn't have kids fast enough. Mm-hmm. But we did wait. I think it was about 3 years before we had our first child, which to me felt like an eternity. And I think in reality, it's really not. A lot of people are married a lot longer before they do that. But, I really wanted to have kids. It was just the ultimate thing to me. And Paul's the ultimate guy. I can't put him over too much.
No, you don't want to give him too much.
Yeah,
his head's going to swell.
Too much about him.
Head's going to swell a little bit. They had baby too, okay, and that's when I started helping you with the diet. We got you to lose all the weight. You were very happy, and then boom, you went in and got pregnant again the third time.
Yep.
And you had baby number 3. 3 daughters. And I know that you guys love your children because you would love any healthy children you had. But in the back of your head, I know Paul's got to be thinking too, I'd like to have a son. Are you guys done? Or is there still a possibility of another one?
No, we're done. Because of other reasons, not because of what your body goes through.
Right.
In terms of appearance. But I would have loved to have had a son. I'm sure Paul would have loved to have had a son too. But, it's not like we don't either. And we have just the most amazing kids. We really do. And he's a lot.
I know.
It's a lot
I know, especially
to take care of. I know God bless people who have more than that, and they say it gets easier with the more you have. But no, I think we're done.
And where did your decision come from that you were going to raise your kids and they were not going to be raised by, helpers or other people who come into your house? Because you're very hands-on, the two of you.
Well, Paul and I are both fortunate in that our parents are still together. I mean, his parents we just came back from being with them for the holidays, and, it's just, Paul and I were raised with the same family values. But a lot of times for me personally, and I can't speak for him except for what I've seen and witnessed, he has a really close, tight, loving family, as do I. My experience growing up was very different than his. But I was on my own a lot when I was a kid, and my parents weren't around a whole lot because they were building the business. And I was raised a lot by people I didn't really like very much. And I thought to myself then when I was a kid, I'm not going to do that to my kids. I want to be there for my kids.
That's a tough decision because people don't realize how busy the two of you are. I mean, really.
But why have kids if you can't be with them?
I agree with you 100%, but a lot of people who are very business oriented and they want to be with their kids, but they don't find the time. You obviously make the time. You always have. As long as I know you, you guys take them on trips with you when you have to. When you guys go away on vacation, you take them with you.
Of course, it's not a vacation without your kids. He and I'll get away for a night. Don't get me wrong. But every now and then, I think once a year. But that's a decision that we made. We wanted to have children. We wanted to be together. It's about being a family.
Right. Here's my question, because I always, people know your family because they see you on TV. Is your dad and your mom, and I think your mom's, I love your mom. She obviously has dieted with me as well, and I hope, is she going to be running for
she's in
Senate again? Okay, she's running again. All right. But are the grandparents, supposedly, can you drop them off at your mom and dad's house, your kids, and for the night, will they watch the grandkids?
Yes, but with my parents, it has to be planned.
Right.
And just because they are so busy. I mean, you know, my dad's on the road all the time, and my mom is running for Senate in Connecticut, and she's on the road a lot. But, you know, whenever she can, she swings by, even on the campaign trail, even if it's for 20 minutes. And, yeah, first of all, if I ever needed them in a heartbeat, they'd be here. You know, but to drop them off for a night, that's like a big kind of commitment.
I got you.
But, you know, my husband's parents, yep, anytime.
That's great. Now, what made your mom decide to want to run for Senate? Just out of curiosity, because you know, I just always wonder what motivates people to do things.
Well, I think my mom truly believes, and I do believe as well, that she can make a difference in the Senate. She has business experience, and that's one of the things around the breakfast table, you know. It was more the dinner table than the breakfast table, but that my family would talk about is, you know, politics and kind of just the lack of common sense, really, you know, when it comes to our government and the way that money is spent. And when you think about it, that none of these people have ever, not none of them, but that a lot of these people have absolutely zero business experience, yet they're making decisions that affect the economy of a nation. It's really remarkable. I know they all have great advisors, so don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure there's really smart people there. But in general, I think you are lacking politicians with business savvy. You know, you need people, and I'm talking my opinion, obviously, but this is all what fuels my mom. And I've learned a lot since my mom's been running. And, you know, you need somebody in there who has some experience, who knows what business people are going through, who knows how to create a business out of nothing. Like I said before, my parents were bankrupt before, and you know, I'm sure they came close a couple of other times because they did take risks, but they know what it takes to make it, truly, to make it, and to make it happen. And you need people like that. I
agree. Why do you think that the press is so hard on your mom, though?
Well, I think the press is fueled a lot by, you know, some of the press are really good, and some of them aren't. And I think that Connecticut is a very democratic state, and I think that a lot of the media is swayed by that. And, you know, I've followed the media and seen so much of the BS and the hype that it's just difficult, and we're low-hanging fruit, and why not, you know, go after the jugular when you don't want a Republican in office?
Sure. And it's true. And you know what? I think that there's a little jealousy has to be involved in this. You guys own a very big corporation. You know, it's like people want to, people don't want to see you do too well. You know how that is.